All right, we are on to bowl season. Starting off on Friday afternoon, we got the Cure Bowl in Orlando, Florida. A really good matchup here. One of the best matchups of bowl season, in my opinion. The top 25 battle between UTSA, obviously won the Conference USA, a great year there for Jeff Traylor, versus Troy, kind of an unexpected rise up team out of the Sun Belt. Seeing Troy in this spot, actually, a 1.5 point favorite. That's up to 2 at some spots, and a dead standard total at 55.5. That's up a little bit from 54.5, as I've seen the last few days. This is one of those games to kick off bowl season that I think is going to get a lot of action. I would love to have action on this game. This is a tough game to me. This is a total contrast in styles matchup. You got UTSA, who's a pass first offense. You got Frank Harris, who's a 3-year starter, terrific player. They got a great deal of wide receivers, but they're going up against a Troy defense that's fantastic themselves. They're great against the run. They get pressure on the quarterback. I think they're somewhat beatable in their secondary. If you had to pick a weakness, it'd probably be in the back end of that Trojans defense. But, this is just kind of a heavyweight battle on that side of the ball. You flip it over to the other side. Troy's offense, much more of a run-first system. Definitely not a sexy offense. I mean, they've played some low-scoring games this year. I know they blew out Coastal Carolina in the Sun Belt Championship game. That's not really their style. They're a defense-first team. They're fine being somewhat mediocre offensively, but there's really nothing to write home about with this UTSA defense either. They've had their issues going up against the run this year, especially giving up chunk runs. It's one thing to allow deep passes. It's one thing to get beat in the play action game, but for any defense I want to back, if you're giving up 30, 40, 50-yard runs kind of consistently on the ground, not really a good sign of where you're at within your front seven. So that's kind of an issue. Do think they do a pretty good job in the secondary, but listen, Gunnar Watson for Troy. I mean, I know Frank Harris is getting all the talk heading into this matchup, and rightfully so. Great year. He's actually coming back next year, which I wasn't expecting. Listen, Gunnar Watson, not a sexy player at quarterback for Troy, but 8.7 yards per attempt. He's plenty efficient enough through the air to where I think he can have some success against this UTSA defense, and I do think Troy will be able to establish the run as well. Like I said, you're getting a really good UTSA offense going up against an equally good Troy defense. And then on the other side, Troy's offense can be somewhat mediocre, but I'd say the same about UTSA. I just don't know where the edge is in betting this game. The one area that I think Troy could have an edge in is getting pressure on Frank Harris. I've just praised that UTSA passing game. I do think they're going to have a tough time running the ball in this matchup, just given what Troy has within their front seven. But probably more importantly, if you had to pick an area to critique UTSA offensively, probably that offensive line. I mean, they've had injury issues throughout the year, dating back to even early in the season. They just haven't been exactly healthy, haven't been able to get their best five out there consistently enough. With the way Troy is able to get pressure, I could see that perhaps being an issue for UTSA's offense. To combat that, though, Frank Harris does get rid of the ball quick. He's a mobile guy. He's played a lot of football at this point, and that's just kind of what I mean. If I had to play a total, I'd probably lean under. Once again, total contrast of styles, though. UTSA runs fast. Troy wants to slow this game down. I'm kind of disappointed that I'm not going to have a play in this game, but this is actually one of the games I'm looking forward to watching most in bowl season.